I was reincarnated as the evil male supporting character in a novel, but I never did anything bad. Not only did I become friends with the male protagonist, I also married the female supporting character, the male protagonist's gentle girlfriend. I always thought I was happy, until I saw my wife's diary. It turns out, she was reborn. All these years of gentle treatment were just to prevent me from hurting the male protagonist. The day I found out I had stomach cancer, I wasn't afraid at all, because I have people I love and people who love me. It was also at this moment that I realized after living in this world for 13 years, I already had a complete sense of belonging and attachment. I died and was transported to this novel world, becoming the evil male supporting character who shared my name and had done terrible things. But I think I'm very lucky. I arrived before the story unfolded, and I hadn't done anything to wrong the male protagonist. In fact, because of the male protagonist's outgoing personality, we became close friends who could talk about anything. I became a guardian of love, encouraging him to actively pursue love, watching him and the female lead fall in love and stay together, and eventually serving as his best man as he married the girl of his dreams. Now I am sick. I should tell my wife, but I'm afraid of making her sad and worried. So I want to hide the medical report first and reveal everything only after my condition improves. My wife, Chu Linyue, was originally the gentle girlfriend in the novel who always quietly supported the male lead. Perhaps due to the butterfly effect caused by my changes, she is no longer the male lead's follower, but instead has placed all her attention and affection on me. Walking together for 13 years, I have truly felt what it means to be loved, and so I unhesitatingly married for love. For now, I'd better not tell her about my illness. I snuck into the study, intending to hide the medical report in the drawer, but when I pulled it open, an old notebook caught my eye. The reason it immediately drew my attention was because it stood out among the otherwise neat and uniform files. It should have been at the very bottom, but the owner left in a hurry, accidentally exposing a corner. I carefully picked up the notebook to look at it, and couldn't help but laugh and cry at the same time. This notebook was the kind with a girlish cover from our student days. It had some age to it, but the owner must have opened it to write infrequently, as the edges were a bit wrinkled and the pages had yellowed. My wife and I have never had any secrets from each other, so I had no hesitation in naturally opening it to browse. On the title page was large English handwriting, "Forever Love." I lowered my head with a slight smile, my aging face turning red. Could this be a love letter she wrote for me? I carefully turned to the first page, and was instantly stunned. My eternal love, Lin Mubai. Lin Mubai is the male protagonist of the story. I suddenly felt the blood rushing from my body, becoming completely frozen, as if my throat was stuffed with thick cotton, making it difficult to even breathe. Though my fingers were trembling, they uncontrollably continued turning the pages, reading everything carefully. With obsessive self-torture, I read through the entire diary word by word. Rather than a diary, it was more like an unsent love letter, summarized in just a few words. Chu Linyue loved Lin Mubai, but could never have him. So it turns out, Chu Linyue was reborn. So it turns out, Chu Linyue had always deeply loved Lin Mubai. So it turns out, all of Chu Linyue's care and favoritism toward me was just an act. She needed to watch me constantly, preventing any possibility of me hurting the man she loved. The joy of new life has long since vanished without a trace, leaving only bitterness spreading through my heart. For these 13 years, I never thought about hurting Lin Mubai, but at this moment, I truly envy him. I envy that his momentary kindness and warmth somehow made a woman love him deeply for 13 years, to the point where she was willing to sacrifice herself and entangle with a vicious male character just to ensure his happiness. My heart was filled with mixed emotions, pain and despair intertwined. I don't even remember if I cried, only that life around me had transformed into a terrifying illusion. Exhausted, I fell asleep on the sofa, only waking up when Chu Linyue returned home. She was reeking of alcohol, swaying as she walked. "Husband, I'm home." She smiled at me. "Sorry, I had a business dinner tonight, so I'm back late." I smiled bitterly, the smile not reaching my eyes, but still fulfilled my duties as a husband. I stepped forward to support her, helping her take off her high heels. "Thank you, honey, you're so good to me." Looking closely at Chu Linyue, I realized her thanks were perfunctory. If she had paid any attention, she would have noticed my swollen, red eyes. Perhaps pretending to care about me had already become her habit. I supported Chu Linyue as she lay down on the bed, helped her remove her socks and clothes, and was preparing to wipe her face and body. Intoxication weakened Chu Linyue's willpower, as if she had let down her usual vigilance, revealing her true feelings unconsciously with exhausted weariness. "Lin Mubai." I froze completely, almost believing I was hearing things. My gaze fixed intently on Chu Linyue, my nails digging marks into my palm. "Lin Mubai." The cruel reminder echoed again. As if torturing myself, I instinctively mimicked Lin Mubai's tone. "Sister Linyue." Chu Linyue suddenly gripped my hand tightly, her drunken eyes unable to hide their tender affection. Lin Mubwa, as long as you're happy, everything I've done is worth it. That short sentence once again trapped me in the cage of betrayal. I found it difficult to breathe. Everything before me became bizarre, and I fled from the bedroom in a panic. It turns out the love I had chosen without hesitation was nothing but a joke from beginning to end. I slept very restlessly. All the terrible things the villainous male supporting character Fu Qinglin did in the novel frantically replayed in my mind. Fu Qinglin bullied the male protagonist with his small group. Fu Qinglin found thugs to abuse the male protagonist. Fu Qinglin deliberately suppressed the male protagonist using his family background, and so on. In the dream, Fu Qinglin suddenly turned around, and it was a face identical to mine. That face was distorted and ferocious. Even I found it terrifying. Time has no meaning in dreams. The male protagonist and his girlfriend grew quickly, then ruthlessly took revenge on me. Chu Linyue's cold and indifferent eyes stared at me calmly, as if staring at a dead object. Since you enjoy ruining others' reputations so much, why don't you experience it yourself? In despair, I was abused to death, carelessly discarded beside a filthy garbage heap where I painfully breathed my last. No, I screamed, waking myself up. Looking up to meet Chu Linyue's concerned gaze, which overlapped with his cruel and fierce appearance in the dream, I trembled with fear. Chu Linyue is helping me cover with a quilt and looks confused. Hubby, what's wrong? Why aren't you sleeping in bed? What if you catch a cold on the sofa? Hubby, are you angry because I drank too much last night? I'm sorry, the client yesterday was very important. I shook my head, enveloped by fatigue and fear, not wanting to say anything. There are no guest rooms in the house. At the beginning, Chu Linyue vowed that she would never get angry and send her husband to sleep in the guest room. Even if her husband really upset her, she would let him sleep on the floor beside her. As a result, when we really had a conflict, I didn't even have my own space. I was indeed being watched closely by her. Chu Linyue didn't notice my abnormality and frowned, complaining pitifully. Hubby, I had a hard time socializing yesterday, and my head hurts badly. Where's the hangover soup? I forgot. In fact, I didn't make it at all. Chu Linyue came from an ordinary family background, while I was a typical rich second-generation heir. She always said she wanted to earn my parents' approval through her own efforts, and that she needed more achievements to be worthy of me. Because of this, Chu Linyue worked extremely hard. She refused help from the Fu family and chose to start her own business. In the early years, she drank heavily with business partners to secure projects, nearly causing a gastric hemorrhage. I deeply loved Chu Linyue, and as her husband, I always took care of her personally. Concerned about how drinking was harming her health, I sought many remedies and often stayed up all night looking after her, just to help her feel better after a hangover. If I hadn't known her true feelings, I might have continued being the devoted husband I was before. However, the truth is, my dedication was completely one-sided. Fu Qinglin uses her family background to hurt Lin Mubwa. I cannot allow any possibility of her harming Lin Mubwa. I must establish myself in the business world and gain enough power to stand against Fu family's patriarch. If they hurt Lin Mubwa like they did in my previous life, I will definitely make Fu Corporation pay a devastating price. Chu Linyue's desperate efforts were merely to gain real power, to protect her true love. Husband, what's wrong with you today? You don't look well. Are you feeling unwell somewhere? Let me take you to the hospital. I stared blankly at the woman before me, wondering how much sincerity was in her current concern. While I was struggling with whether to have an honest conversation with Chu Linyue, my phone suddenly rang. The caller ID displayed two big words, Lin Mubwa. Chu Linyue quickly picked up the phone and handed it to me, her eyes signaling, answer it. I numbly accepted the call, and Lin Mubwa's cheerful voice came through. Qinglin, remember we agreed to go to the art exhibition today? I remember. Then let's meet directly at the cafe in front of the art corridor. I'll drop Linling off at work. It happens to be on the way. Okay. After hanging up the phone, before I could say anything, Chu Linyue said first, you have an appointment with Lin Mubai today, so I'll take you there. No need. Your company is not on the way. Chu Linyue affectionately touched my cheek. Silly. Taking my husband anywhere is on the way. Hurry up and change your clothes. Chu Linyue got up and went back to her room to get ready, her back radiating joy. Of course, she was happy to meet her beloved. And she clearly forgot that she had just said she would take me to the hospital because I looked unwell. After all, in Chu Linyue's world, nothing is more important than Lin Mubai. When Chu Linyue dropped me off at the cafe, Lin Mubai was happily sipping on a mocha cocoa frappuccino. He naturally handed me a cup of hot milk, greeting me cheerfully. Chu Linyue gently reminded me, your stomach isn't good, don't drink too many cold things, it's not good for your health. You're not a child anymore, you should pay more attention. Lin Mubwa smiled and teased. Oh my, look at you two lovebirds, showing off right in front of me. Chu Linyue smiled and casually said, the same goes for you. Drink less cold stuff. To say one caring reminder to him, she needed to set up so much context first. The hot milk in my hand seemed to burn terribly. Actually, I never drink cold beverages. The care she wanted to give wasn't meant for me. I know, you're so nagging. Only Qinglin can put up with you. Chu Linyue smiled, then turned to me and said, I'll come pick you both up at noon for lunch. I remember you mentioned wanting to try the new Spanish restaurant at Yueqing. Once doubt arises, I realized this woman's acting skills were actually quite poor. The person who wanted to visit the Spanish restaurant wasn't me, it was Lin Mubai. It was merely my blind love, and her doing her best to act. Now that the truth is laid bare, I realized my former self was blinded by a single leaf. Lin Mubai put his arm around me. All right, you should go now. Don't disturb our brotherly time together. He pulled me inside while continuing to chatter. Qinglin, I'm super excited about Master Gu's work. I instinctively looked back at the woman in the distance. She had been watching us with scrutinizing eyes, but suddenly concealed her emotions the moment our gazes met. Put on a show of deep affection. Act out a scene of tender love. Chu Linyue, aren't you tired? After finishing viewing the exhibition, we had just left the gallery when we saw Chu Linyue's car slowly approaching. During that time, she asked me several times when she should come pick us up. In the past, I would have thought this was her way of showing love, attachment, and care for me. Now I realized she was merely using me to spy on her true love. Lin Mubai spotted handmade ice cream by the roadside and eagerly wanted to try some. Regardless of what's between Chu Linyue and me, this cheerful and sunny big boy has always been my friend. Smiling, I bought one and handed it to him. Lin Mubai eagerly took a big bite. Eating ice cream under the blazing sun, his face was filled with happiness and delight. Suddenly, he clutched his stomach in pain, his face twisting in agony. Qinglin, my stomach. Lin Mubai. Before I could even react, Lin Mubai suddenly collapsed to the ground. I didn't have time to catch him before a swift, fierce figure rushed over. The newcomer shoved me away roughly and grabbed hold of the swaying Lin Mubai. Lin Mubai, are you alright? Chu Linyue's face was filled with concern. She didn't even notice that she had pushed me to the ground. I instinctively clutched my spasming abdomen, staring at the woman before me in terror. What are you doing? What exactly did you do to her? Chu Linyue's eyes were filled with worry and fear, along with an unmistakable wariness and disgust towards me. I did nothing. Chu Linyue picked up Lin Mubai and glared down at me. Fu Qinglin, you better pray that Lin Mubai is okay, or else. After saying that, she completely ignored me, who had fallen to the ground, and left with Lin Mubai. I thought knowing the truth yesterday was painful enough, but being confronted with harsh words from the one I love was the real heart-wrenching experience. I did nothing. I clearly did nothing. I sat on the ground for a long time to recover, confirming that I wasn't seriously hurt before slowly getting up. I scraped my knee when I fell, and the wound was mixed with gravel. I surprisingly felt no pain. After all, compared to the pain in my heart, this little injury really wasn't much. Lin Mubai was my friend, and I was genuinely worried when he suddenly collapsed. I took a taxi to the nearest hospital and quickly found them. The look in Chu Linyue's eyes was unconcealed hatred. She blocked me from approaching the hospital room. Chu Linyue coldly demanded, Fu Qinglin, how dare you show your face here? Are you trying to hurt Lin Mubai again? Again, Chu Linyue, do you realize you've already given yourself away in your panic? I stared silently at the woman before me. 13 years, and she doesn't even have basic trust in me. The nurse came out and asked, who is the patient's family? Chu Linyue hurriedly stepped forward, opened her mouth to say something, but finally could only awkwardly mutter, I'm his sister. How is he doing? The nurse smiled and said, the patient is fine. He just has stomach problems and stayed too cool, so he's a bit heat-struck. Lin Mubai had coffee, cold drinks, and ice cream this morning, and with the recent hot weather causing temperature fluctuations, that's why he fainted. His gastric condition hasn't flared up for a long time. I've always been reminding him. I stood quietly at a distance, watching Chu Linyue. Chu Linyue, you've lost your composure. Doctor, how is my husband Lin Mubai doing? Xia Linlang came running breathlessly, and upon seeing me and Chu Linyue, she quickly asked, Fu Qinglin, Linyue, how is Lin Mubai? Where is he now? He's inside. He's fine now. You should go see him. Well, his stomach condition has slightly flared up. You should remind him more often. Chu Linyue was filled with bitterness, but Xia Linlang didn't notice Chu Linyue's unusual demeanor at all and impatiently rushed into the ward. Honey, I'm sorry I'm late. Through the door, Chu Linyue watched from a distance as Xia Linlang and Lin Mubai embraced each other. Xia Linlang wept loudly, anxiously asking after his well-being. For just a stomach inflammation, she worried as if her husband had been diagnosed with a terminal illness. Yesterday, I was also worried that my wife, upon learning of my physical condition, would be this heartbroken. I feared she would be consumed by grief, so I chose to conceal it. Now, I'm no longer certain. Perhaps, if I were to die, She wouldn't be sad at all, but would instead be happy. Chu Linyue was like a voyeur, spying on her beloved's happiness from afar. And I, standing not far away, quietly watching her. So, this is how she looks at Lin Mubwa. How ridiculous that I never noticed it before. After a long while, Chu Linyue finally turned around reluctantly, and she finally noticed me. The panic on her face and the transformation of her emotions were so obvious. It was a complete giveaway. Husband, I'm sorry, I was worried. I didn't mean to blame you. You and Lin Mubai are good friends. He's also my friend. We're classmates too. He's just like a brother to me. I was just too worried, that's why. Honey, I'm sorry. I coldly watched her incoherent defense. Chu Linyue, aren't you tired? Chu Linyue reached out to hold my hand, but I silently pulled it back. She clenched her fist in frustration, and when she glanced down, she finally noticed the scab on my knee. Honey, you're hurt. Your knee is bleeding. Did you fall? When did this happen? Let's go put some medicine on it right away. Just now, when you pushed me. Chu Linyue's face turned pale. Earlier when Lin Mubai fainted, her eyes and heart were completely focused on him. How could she have noticed me? Chu Linyue seemed unable to face me, unconsciously turning her face away, yet firmly grabbing my arm. Let me help you clean that wound first. I wanted to break free from her grip, but was afraid of hurting her, so I was forced to walk along with her. After cleaning the wound, we went together to the ward to visit Lin Mubwa. He excitedly held my hand while chattering nonstop. Qinglin, I'm being annoyed to death by Lin Lang. It's just gastroenteritis, but she says she won't let me touch anything cold from now on. Qinglin, please talk some sense into her. She even wants me to stay in the hospital and eat that bland hospital food. I sat by the bed, feeling both jealous and envious of the man before me. He had a wife who stayed by him with true love, and a girlfriend who silently devoted herself to him, especially that person who was also my wife. But what wrong had Lin Mubwa done? He was sunny and cheerful, kind and upright. He didn't even know about Chu Linyue's hidden deep affection. I struggled to control the dark emotions surging within me. I didn't want to become the person I despised. I held his hand and softly reassured him. Lin Lang is right. You really should be careful with your diet now. You can't eat whatever you want anymore, especially nothing too cold. That greedy mouth of yours has earned you a hospital stay for observation. I know. Xia Linlang smiled as she handed me a cup of warm water. Qinglin's words are the only ones that work. Whatever I say falls on deaf ears, but when he acts cute, I'm helpless. Stop it. Lin Mubwa held my hand. Qinglin, I'll listen to advice, but don't forget to bring me some good food, and remember to visit me. Chu Linyue affectionately put her arm around me, as if the earlier estrangement never existed. She smiled and promised Lin Mubwa, don't worry, both of us will come to see you. Suddenly, I felt a chill, my back turning cold. Actually, I'm a patient too. I need hospital treatment more than Lin Mubwa does. But, is there any point in treating me now? Lin Mubwa leaned against Xia Linlang, acting cute, his face full of happiness. Chu Linyue sat quietly beside me, silently gazing at the person she loved in front of her. I don't want to notice her gaze, much less pay attention to her emotions. I just feel exhausted. Because of this incident, I unilaterally began a cold war with Chu Linyue. I'm conflicted and in pain. A 13-year relationship isn't something that can be easily discarded. After all, she is the woman I genuinely loved for 13 years. Especially now, when I don't have much time left. But every word in Chu Linyue's diary constantly reminds me, my marriage is just a sugar-coated poison. It's deception, and even more so, a heartless injury. Chu Linyue knows she went too far, and has been trying her best to please me during this time. But every time I see that face, I can't help but think of her diary and her calculations. Even when she tries to get close to me, I actually feel a physical revulsion. I clearly see the disappointment in her eyes, but I'm even more aware of my own unwillingness. I'm unwilling to be intimate with a woman whose heart contains another man. But how could Chu Linyue love someone else while pretending to love me? Lin Mubai invited me to go shopping after he was discharged from the hospital. His face was full of joy, filled with expectation for everything in the future. Hearing her unconsciously rambling about herself and Xia Linlang, the envy in my eyes was almost overflowing. This happiness and sweetness were also what I once longed for. I came from another world and have never felt a sense of belonging to this world. But after dying and transmigrating, the me in that world had already perished. I have no place of origin. I can only search for a place to belong. I once truly considered Chu Linyue as my sanctuary, if I hadn't seen that diary. Because I knew the plot, I always reminded myself to harbor good intentions and not to hurt anyone. I purely believed that feelings were a two-way journey. If I was good to others, they would feel it, and I would receive their response in return. In my interactions with Lin Mubwa, I experienced friendship. Under my family's doting, I comprehended kinship, accepting love through Chu Linyue's persistence. But now, The person beside me has brutally shattered all the beauty, instantly pulling me back to reality. Sometimes I can't help but examine myself. Perhaps I really am a hateful, bad person. Yet I clearly saw trust and gentleness in Lin Mubai's eyes. We walked out of the mall carrying bags of all sizes, all of them gifts he bought for Xia Linling. I laughed at him for buying too much. He said he couldn't help it. He just wanted to give his wife all the good things. We were waiting for a car by the roadside when suddenly a sedan came speeding towards us. I instinctively wanted to protect Lin Mubai, while Lin Mubai also reached out to push me away. In a flash, a figure suddenly rushed out and pushed me away forcefully, sheltering Lin Mubai in their arms. I was scattered in body and spirit from the violent impact. Before losing consciousness, I only heard Lin Mubai's heart-wrenching cry. Fu Qinglin. I don't know how long I was unconscious, but when I woke up, my entire body was in pain. Chu Linyue was quietly keeping watch over me, with dark circles under her eyes. Seeing me awake, she reproachfully complained. Such a big matter. How could you not tell me? I instinctively touched my stomach. You know? Chu Linyue gently comforted me. Husband, medicine is very advanced nowadays. Although you have cancer, it's only stage 1. With proper treatment, you'll definitely get better. I won't get better. I numbly looked at her. I once wanted to stay in this world, to live on well. But all of this has now been shattered by her, the one I love most. I quietly wept. Chu Linyue reached out to wipe away my tears, but I instinctively avoided her touch. Chu Linyue's eyes were filled with pain. Husband, I'm sorry. You don't need to apologize to me. You were just following your heart, making the most instinctive choice. Chu Linyue stared at me with complex emotions in her eyes. I gazed at her calmly. Chu Linyue, let's get a divorce. Saying those words wasn't as difficult as I had imagined. At this moment, I somehow felt a faint sense of relief. Fortunately, I discovered the truth. I had even been deceiving myself. Perhaps it's better that Chu Linyue never loved me. If she had truly loved me, even just a little bit, I probably wouldn't have been able to leave her. I've read your diary. Chu Linyue's pupils widened as she stared at me intently, her eyes revealing the same terror I had seen in the dream. But I was surprisingly calm. Whether you believe it or not, I never intended to harm Lin Mubai, nor have I ever done anything to hurt him. Also, I am not the same person as Fu Qinglin whom you met in your previous life. A moment of bewilderment appeared in Chu Linyue's eyes, but she continued to watch me vigilantly. Since you know about the past life, I might as well acknowledge that you've improved. But I won't divorce you. I scoffed mockingly. Chu Linyue, don't tell me you've fallen in love with me? You've fallen for a vicious male supporting character whom you despise from the bottom of your heart. Can you face your true love? You don't need to provoke me with these words. I will not agree to a divorce. Now that Chu Linyue knew the truth was out, pretense had no meaning. She seemed to be repeating to herself in self-deception. I need to keep watching you, monitor you every moment, in case you revert to your old ways, in case you hurt. I smiled coldly with resignation, my eyes full of bitterness. Chu Linyue, I really admire you, acting for 13 years. It's truly a waste you haven't won an Oscar. Let's get divorced, stop hurting each other, and don't make me despise you even more. Chu Linyue never expected that I, who had always been gentle, would say such things. But this harsh yet inwardly weak version of me could remind her that I am a bad person, that she is right. Chu Linyue didn't know how to refute me. She could only repeatedly say, I will not divorce you. Perhaps she herself didn't realize the fear she revealed when saying these words. She didn't even dare admit that she might like me a little. She was even less able to admit that she was wrong. Once admitted, she would be beyond redemption, forever suffering from inner condemnation. During my hospitalization, I ignored all of Chu Linyue's actions. Her attempts to please me, her shows of vulnerability, her apologies. I only treated her as if she were invisible. After being discharged from the hospital, I went straight back to my own home. In this world, only Chu Linyue had been reborn. Only she would always scrutinize my every word and action with prejudice. Others wouldn't. Lin Mubua and Xia Linling wouldn't, and my parents certainly wouldn't. A long road tests a horse's strength. Time reveals a person's heart. They know what I'm really like after years of being together. They won't harbor baseless suspicions, let alone cause deliberate harm. Mother knew I was sick, and she accompanied me actively seeking treatment. Every day she instructed the housekeeper to make various nourishing stews and stuff me with supplements as if they cost nothing. Holding a bowl of white fungus and lotus seed soup, I spoke softly. Mom, if I divorced Chu Linyue, would you and Dad agree? Divorce? Is it that serious? Mother thought Chu Linyue and I were just having minor quarrels and hadn't expected me to bring up divorce right away. The older generation believes it's better to tear down a temple than break up a marriage, so her first reaction was to advise reconciliation. Mom doesn't know what happened between you and Ling Yu, but divorce isn't good. If it's not some fundamental mistake, Mom still hopes you two can work things out. Ling Yu is a good kid and has truly treated you well all these years. We've all seen it. These days she's been bringing nutritional supplements every day, but I haven't let her in since you don't want to see her. I laughed bitterly to myself. Chu Linyue, how well you can act. You portrayed deep love so perfectly that, except for that diary, no one would believe you actually don't love me. Mother saw my pale face, full of suffering, and let out a long sigh. I don't know what insurmountable obstacle lies between you two, but you're an adult now. Parents can only offer advice for you to consider, but in the end, you're the one who must decide. My mother held my hand in her palm, gently rubbing it. In any case, no matter what decision you make, home is your harbor. Even if you get a divorce, you can always come back home. My mother's comfort finally provided an outlet for all my grievances. I felt like a lost child who had finally found the way home, collapsing into my mother's arms and crying loudly. During this time, I stayed at home, ignoring Chu Linyue. I cannot deny that the hurt caused by Chu Linyue has trapped me in a self-proving dilemma. I clearly did nothing wrong, yet I was mistreated because of her prejudice, even though she hadn't done anything to hurt me in the past 13 years. But thinking back to her initial intentions in approaching me, remembering how she repeatedly chose Lin Mubai without hesitation, the pain in my heart felt like maggots attached to my bones, leaving me trapped in the illusion she wove. It wasn't until I felt my parents' unconditional favoritism that I realized my way out. It turned out I was merely drawing a cage for myself. I am doing well. I live openly and honestly. I have a clear conscience. I don't need to seek validation in Chu Linyue's affections. She isn't worth it. I took the initiative to go to Chu Linyue's company to find her. Seeing this woman I once deeply loved again, I felt nothing but estrangement. Chu Linyue hurriedly extinguished her cigarette and instinctively fanned the air. I even caught a glimpse of surprise flashing in her eyes. I don't like the smell of smoke, and although Chu Linyue smoked occasionally, she didn't have an addiction. But seeing the forest of cigarette butts in the ashtray on her coffee table, it seemed she hadn't been doing well lately. However, Lin Mubwa also dislikes the smell of smoke. Husband, you finally agreed to see me. I calmly sat down across from her, quietly observing the woman before me. Chu Linyue is beautiful, with clear eyes and soft features. She has always been the ideal woman in many men's hearts. Yet such an almost perfect woman showed all her attention and favoritism when I appeared. And I once naively thought that was love. It's simply ridiculous. Nowadays, Chu Linyue has heavy dark circles under her eyes, her clothes are wrinkled, and there are some oil stains on her cuffs. It turns out that all her goodness was just a filter given by my love. I calmly placed the documents on the coffee table and pushed them toward her. Let's get a divorce. There's no need to entangle ourselves any further. Chu Linyue stared at me blankly. Fu Qinglin, you don't need to be so aggressive. We don't have to go as far as divorce. Why not get a divorce? Since we know it's a mistake, there's no need to continue. Is it interesting to torment each OT? Her while sharing the same bed but having different dreams? Chu Linyue, your reluctance to get a divorce. Could it be that you've changed your heart? Have you fallen in love with me? Chu Linyue's expression changed dramatically, but years of habit made it difficult for her to face her true feelings. But I am no longer the Fu Qinglin who considered everything for her. I mercilessly tore away the woman's disguise, exposing her hypocrisy. Chu Linyue, you're actually a coward. You claim you love Lin Mubwa, yet you don't even have the courage to pursue him. You only dare to approach me under the pretense of protecting him, using me to secretly observe him. You're nothing but a clown. What do you know? It's because I respect him. I know the one he loves is Xia Linlang. What about me then? Am I destined to be used by you, becoming a sacrifice in the name of your so-called love? Chu Linyue had a moment of deflation, muttering dejectedly to herself. I never meant to hurt you. It's just that in your past life. I told you, that person from the past life wasn't me. Chu Linyue's eyes were full of scrutiny and doubt. But I no longer cared. Chu Linyue, you're quite amusing. Just because in your perception I've done countless terrible things, you refuse to see the real me, blindly defining me as a villain who's done endless harm. But ask yourself honestly, 13 years, a full 13 years, have I ever done anything to hurt anyone? Chu Linyue opened her mouth, but couldn't utter a single word. Even if I could pretend, I could fake it for a month or two, a year or two. But could I pretend for a full 13 years? I looked at the woman before me with a cold sneer. Just because you have memories of your past life, you always look at me with colored glasses and question me, whereas those without memories actually see the real me. Lin Mubwa sees me as a good brother. Xia Linlang also considers me a friend. My parents have always loved me unconditionally. Except for you. No one has unconditional prejudice against me. Look, I was never some evil male supporting character. That was just your imagination of me. You always thought you saw through me clearly, but you were actually the blindest person of all. Chu Linyue, you don't deserve me, and you can't give me the feelings I want. From beginning to end, you were the most malicious existence. Chu Linyue's eyes reddened as she faced my candid words. She stared at me intently, yet her neck remained stiff. She couldn't admit her mistake, nor did she dare to bow her head, because that would mean everything she had done for the past 13 years was nothing but a joke. Let's get divorced, part on good terms, and preserve our dignity. Lin Mubai learned about our plans to divorce. He wanted to give advice, but couldn't bring himself to speak. He was a beneficiary in this situation, and anything he said would come across as condescend. Charity. He never mentioned Chu Linyue, only saying that I was sick and needed to take good care of myself, always finding excuses to invite me out for meals or shopping. Looking at him, full of inner conflict yet still trying hard to cheer me up, I felt warmth rising in my heart. What wrong had he done? He knew nothing. He had only offered a bit of kindness when Chu Linyue was feeling down. I held Lin Mubai's hand, forcing a smile on my face. Lin Mubai, I'm very happy to have you as a good friend. Lin Mubai embraced me, and his restrained conflict and helplessness finally poured out as he broke into loud sobs. Qinglin, I'm sorry, it's all my fault. I actually knew nothing. I hurt you, I'm sorry. It's not your fault, it's just individual choices, you didn't do anything wrong. Lin Mubai said between sobs. Qinglin, whatever choice you make, I'll support you unconditionally. You'll always be my good brother. I smiled as I wiped away the tears from the corner of his eye. Chu Linyue, you see, I am also worthy of being loved. After a month of standoff, Chu Linyue finally agreed to the divorce, because she clearly realized that I was indeed not the Fu Qinglin she thought I was. Indecision wouldn't make me compromise, it would only bring about my stronger counterattack. If she dragged on refusing the divorce, I would file for litigation. I had the Fu family behind me, and besides, there's no marriage in this world that cannot be dissolved. We walked out of the office, and she hesitated to speak. There's still a month of the divorce cooling-off period, if. No ifs. I calmly interrupted her. From the moment you deceived me in our relationship, this outcome was already predetermined. I will contact a moving company to take away the things at home. You can throw away whatever is not taken. The divorce compensation can be directly transferred to my account as agreed. Fu Qinglin, do we really have to be this clear about everything between us? Now that we are divorced, we should definitely settle everything clearly. I was blind and foolish in love before and couldn't see clearly. At least let's settle the money now. Chu Linyue was filled with reluctance. Actually, I never thought about divorcing you. I wanted to live well with you. It's meaningless to say these things now. I strode forward. On this day a month from now, I hope you will be on time and not pull any tricks. Chu Linyue, don't make me dislike you even more. I walked towards my car, and just as I opened the door, I heard Chu Linyue shouting behind me. Fu Qinglin, in these 13 years, have you ever loved me? I didn't turn my head or answer, but simply left without any lingering attachment. Unequal love isn't really love. At most it's just wishful thinking. I finally escaped from the cage of the malicious male supporting character and walked toward my new world. You Linyue's extra chapter. I thought I didn't love Fu Qinglin, but I ended up being proven terribly wrong. I really like the current Fu Qinglin. The summer when I was 17, Fu Qinglin transferred to our class. Based on my certainty about memories from my past life, I always remained vigilant around him. The Fu family was wealthy and powerful, while I was still just a high school student with nothing to my name, dependent on others. If I were to directly confront him, I would likely be at a disadvantage. So I approached him under the pretense of admiration. As long as I kept an eye on him every moment I was by his side, he wouldn't be able to hurt Lin Mubai. This is what I had been telling myself all along. But the current Fu Qinglin seemed different. He was always smiling, kind to everyone, and had even become close friends with Lin Mubai, sharing everything with him. No, this was all just his disguise. This man has poison in his bones. He is rotten to the core. The closer he gets to Lin Mubai, the nicer I am to him, until I see shy affection in his eyes. I feel smug inside. My goal has been achieved. This way I can better control him. After the college entrance exam, I summoned the courage to kiss him. I try hard to ignore my pounding heart, suppressing the wild flutter within, constantly telling myself that this is all just his disguise. Fu Qinglin, he is simply a bad person. Afraid of falling into Fu Qinglin's tenderness, I begin writing in my diary, reminding myself over and over, I love Lin Mubai. I love the Lin Mubai who gave me hot steamed buns when I was starving after being kicked out by my uncle. I love the Lin Mubai who brought me medicine when I was beaten and scolded by my cousin. I can only love the kind and good Lin Mubai. Just like in my previous life, Lin Mubai falls in love with Xie Linling once again. Without Fu Qinglin, that bad person, causing trouble, they quickly got together and built a happy family. Fu Qinglin and I also naturally came together. As we spent more time together, I increasingly felt that the current Fu Qinglin wasn't bad. Gentle, thoughtful, attentive, and comprehensive. His treatment of me was simply beyond words. But whenever I indulged in this comfort, I would recall the cruel scene of Fu Qinglin finding thugs to bully Lin Mubua. If Xia Linlang and I hadn't arrived in time, the consequences would have been unimaginable. And then there was how he brought his cronies to corner Lin Mubua in the bathroom and bullied him. All his past wrongdoings wouldn't disperse from my mind. I repeatedly struggled between falling for him and staying clear-headed, finally just compromising. As long as Fu Qinglin didn't hurt Lin Mubua, I would just continue living with him like this, until Lin Mubua collapsed. I couldn't help but be afraid, because Fu Qinglin had drugged Lin Mubua before. He was indeed reverting to his old ways. That day, I felt as if my present self merged with who I was in a past life. But what I felt more was a frustrating anger, like hating that iron couldn't become steel. Fu Qinglin, can't you just be a good person? Until I realized I had misunderstood him. Any explanation seemed hollow and meaningless. The feelings between us began to crack, eventually forming an unbridgeable chasm. Only when Fu Qinglin left did I realize that I had fallen for him long ago. I deeply love the Fu Qinglin of today, and I don't want a divorce. I really don't want a divorce. But I also truly don't want to see expressions of disgust and disdain on his face anymore. His clear confession shattered all my self-deception, exposing all my unworthiness and cruelty. What right do I have to bind someone I've hurt with the chains of marriage? The only option is to let go. After the divorce, I felt as if I had lost the entire world. When Lin Mubua learned of my feelings, he began to keep his distance. Xia Linlang also couldn't remain friends with someone who had ulterior motives toward her husband. Every day I just go between my company and home, like a numb machine. No lover, no friends. When feeling lost and in pain, I can only rely on alcohol to numb myself. Unfortunately, there will no longer be Fu Qinglin's whispers, patient reminders, and gentle care. Sometimes I wonder, what's the meaning of being reborn? Is it just to miss out on true love? Life is so meaningless. I even have self-destructive thoughts like if I died, would Fu Qinglin feel heartbroken for me? Would he shed tears for me? When Lin Mubua's child was 1 month old, I secretly went to observe their happiness from afar. I am very clear that Lin Mubua is not the one I wanted to see. Fu Qinglin was holding the baby with a radiant smile. He has already moved on from the past shadows. Actually, he has always been a sunny, cheerful, positive, and kind person, always the appearance I love most. Lin Mubua was smilingly playing with the child nearby. Baby, this is your godfather, Godfather Qinglin. Bitterness spread through my heart. I was finally being punished, and in every day to come, I would be constantly tormented by my past presumptions. I once had a happy family too, a gentle and kind husband, and a precious baby who belonged to us.